This is the Brownstone Center news update for December 3rd. Wow, it's already December 3rd, 2025. Let's go ahead and get some midday news. Go ahead and clock out if you've not already had that. We're going to be here for a few minutes. Let me go ahead and share with you the news. So, overnight negotiations between Vladimir Putin and U.S. envoys include Trump ally Steve Witkoff ended with no breakthrough. Moscow says U.S. peace proposals for Ukraine are, quote, unacceptable, though talks are still technically open. And that translation means the war remains on a knife's edge heading into 2026. A new UNCTAD briefing warns that global growth will fall to 2.6% in 2025. That's actually down from 2.9% in 2024. Trade disruptions, rising borrowing costs, and weakened investments are creating pressure points for developing nations. Today, the world highlights the rights, dignity, and resilience of persons with disabilities. And it's an International Day of Persons with Disabilities, a reminder that inclusion must be a year round priority and not a single day headline like today. Trump administration is actually threatening to withhold SNAP data. We talked about this on a talking head brief that I actually did yesterday. Some of you all had questions about whether or not there were going to be a disruption of your SNAP benefits. Well, a major political and humanitarian storm is actually brewing. The Trump administration announced it may cut off SNAP funding to Democrat-led states that refuse to turn over extensive data on food aid recipients. Critics call it coercion, supporters call it fraud prevention. Either way, millions of families could be caught in the crossfire. Now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is under intensified scrutiny, and we've been paying attention to that. Pressure is rising around Pete Hegseth after deadly, quote, drug boat strike operations prompted legal experts and former military officials to question whether the Pentagon is edging into war crime territory. We're going to keep you updated on that as the story escalates. India walks back controversial surveillance order. Now, the Indian government reversed its requirement that all smartphones come with pre-installed with state-run Sanchar Sati cybersecurity apps after a massive public backlash over privacy concerns. Digital privacy advocates are calling it a rare win for user rights in the world's largest democracy. AI misinformation is hitting a global stage. Business leaders and government officials are sounding alarms about the accelerated risks of AI driven misinformation, foreign interference, and cyber instability. AI is now officially a national security issue and not just a tech debate. In money markets, the markets rally as investors regain confidence. Wall Street has been up today across major indices. Government bond selling stabilized, copper hit record highs, Bitcoin surged past 90,000, and investors are betting heavily that the Federal Reserve is marching towards a 2026 rate cut cycle, especially with Kevin Hassett widely expected to be the next Fed chair. The dollar drops for the ninth straight day. You should be concerned about that. The U.S. dollar continues its slide as traders anticipate easing monetary policy. A weaker dollar generally boosts stocks, metals, and crypto, all of which jumped today. As the world observes the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, advocates emphasize expanding access to healthcare, education, employment, community life, and digital inclusion. Economic slowdown could hit the most vulnerable the hardest, making equitable policy even more essential. Here's the big picture. Global instability remains the headline for today. The economy is moving with nerves, and AI surveillance and digital rights are now political backgrounds. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and get started with our next round of news. Admiral Holsey is actually resigning after a confrontation with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. So we have a major development, and of course, we've all been following this. If you have not, let's go ahead and get into this portion of your afternoon news. Major developments are unfolding inside the Pentagon, one with sweeping implications for military legality, civilian safety, and the integrity of U.S. command. And here's everything that you absolutely need to know right now. According to multiple sources familiar with the exchange, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth summoned Admiral Alvin Holsey to a closed-door meeting to address the admiral's refusal to carry out a controversial set of maritime strike orders in the Caribbean. These operations, already under national and international scrutiny, involve attacking, quote, suspicious fishing boats believed to be connected to drug trafficking. But as several outlets have already reported, these strikes have also resulted in civilian casualties, including the death of a Colombian fisherman. When pressed by Hegseth to continue the strikes, Admiral Holsey made his position clear. He would not carry out an illegal order, not after 40 years of service. Holsey warned that the risk to innocent civilians was too high and that the rules of engagement violated both U.S. and international law. Hegseth pushed back, accusing Holsey of failing his duty and threatening to strip him of his command. The meeting grew heated and ended abruptly. Within 15 minutes of leaving that room, Admiral Alvin Holsey submitted his letter of resignation. A 4-decade Navy veteran, a respected commander, gone, in the direct aftermath of a dispute over the legality of military action. And this sudden departure should already be shaking a lot of us. Now, Congress wants answers. Members of Congress have reached out to Admiral Holsey directly, and they want him to testify about the legality of the Caribbean boat strikes, civilian deaths already documented in reporting, pressure placed on high-ranking officers, whether Hegseth attempted to coerce commanders into illegal actions, internal resistance building across the Pentagon. Holsey has reportedly agreed to testify, and he has documentation. Washington insiders are already calling this the most serious Pentagon confrontation of the Trump administration to date. All right, folks, listen, for more news and information that you can absolutely use, head on over to brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and you guessed it, Brownstone Living Magazine. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you around.